Well, I reckon last time you caught the dude and me riding around camping just south of the Colorado Plateau in Sedona, Arizona. Well, after we were done with that, we started moving south and west to join up with a YouTube fella that we've been talking to for a few years and finally got a chance to meet him in the desert. And he was going to show us a hell of a good time out in the middle of nowhere. First impressions, these giant saguaros were very impressive and very intimidating, but it was lovely camping in between them. Got to know Adrian a little bit the night before our ride. Spent the night in front of a campfire, talking over the next day. And early in the morning we got a good start because we had a lot of riding to do to see all the sights and the trails and the geology and plant life that the desert had to offer. Overlook. So which is this, the queen? Is the queen? See that? What is that box up there? Okay. That looks like a lot better shape than this is. You're saying this is turn of the century? My new friend had lots to offer as far as history of the mines, location, and plant life especially was very interesting in the desert. Later on in this video you will see a few of the lessons that my new friend and guide gave me. This is another pit vertical shaft that's now abandoned, but if you're not careful what you're doing, you'll roll right into this. I'm glad they put the little cage over the top of it. That was really nice of them.
Right here is the ballot mine.
The who?
Ballot, B-A-L-O-I-T. So this shaft and then next shaft down below. And the top one. So it's all, I would have expected placer mining where they just strip away the overburden. The shaft, that would not even go down to the shaft. It's all just sediment.
This is the first time that I can actually remember really getting into the beauty of the desert. I'd never really appreciated the desert before I started spending time in it. And the terrain was awesome. The plant life was awesome. Just the day. It was a beautiful day to spend in the desert, and it just kind of seemed like I was in a video game. Everything seemed so surreal because I'm not used to seeing this far. And spending time with somebody that knew where they were going and had some fascinating stories and interesting history to share, that just made it a really unique couple of days. Lots more confidence when you have somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. And this is another abandoned mine site, and I just kept going on up here because I saw something interesting. Saw a couple of holes in the side of the wall and a collapsed entrance, I guess. Not really sure. Never really found out, but I'm always interested in going to places where I probably should not be going. But this was one of very many mine shafts that we saw this day, and lots of ruins, and it's so great to explore the decay. I'm a big fan of decay, how things decay over time with weather or neglect or all of the above. It's always been fascinating, and I'm kind of an explorer at heart, so it's always fascinating when I can get up and visit close to where the action is. And I'm trying to get as close to this mine shaft as I can get and actually be able to get back out. Sorry, man, I can't resist. That's the first mine I've been able to ride into, so. Let me get Sorry, man, I act like a child sometimes, and mine's getting me, man. This is, we've got iron mines in Alabama, and specifically Birmingham. They're all over the mountain close to where I live, but they're all collapsed, either by nature or dynamite, because, you know, they're basically downtown, so. That didn't show up. Well, there's enough light coming straight in. It's not too bad. You can get down in here pretty good.
I think they were getting tired as they went in, just getting lower.
How far have you been back here?
This is about it. Usually I'm up here by myself.
Oh yeah, no, I get it.
Up into a vertical shaft or a drift.
Yeah. Well, at least they know where to find your bike.
Oh, exactly. Looks like an old ore chute. And a bat just went by if you're afraid of bats.
No.
So it looks like you got a collapse there.
So, what are you saying collapsed?
It looks like
Oh, the chute. Okay.
yeah, the chute came down.
Looks like it's pretty good shape still.
Yeah.
Ooh, watch your head.
Yeah.
At least you got one of those.
Yeah.
It's getting very warm back here. Smells like urine.
You can still see the ties on the ground.
Shine your light back. Oh wow, it splits. That's freaking awesome.
I think this is the main shaft right here.
Why would you think that? What makes you believe that?
It's bigger and it's got ties in it.
Got it.
I'm just guessing at this stuff.
No, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. You're the pro.
Watch out for the guano.
Ah, is he sitting up above? Let's see what's above here. It just hangs off the ceiling? Is that what it...
Yeah. Actually, looking up here, I wonder if this was the top of the vein that they were chasing. You see how the color goes? And actually, you can actually follow right back there.
Show me the guano again. Right here. Right here.
Take some home for your house plants.
Yeah. Let's see the ceiling up here again. I can't. We were shining the light. So that is what a vein looks like.
I believe so.
All right. Huh. Okay, we can go back now. This is worth my trip all the way down. Thank you.
Not a problem.
That was excellent. And you're thinking this is a vent?
Yeah, I would say that this probably goes down to one of the lower levels. It may have been a vertical shaft, or it could have just been an air shaft.
Well, I mean,
this far out, they're pulling the ore out.
this much work, I would think that they found something.
Hey, look at this one. It's not too far, but
It's a little bit of a drop. Wow, the timbers inside are nice too. Desert Queen.
yes, sir.
You can see we were pretty close by the bus after all. Our camp is just, I'll zoom in once again here once I get centered. There it is, just to the left there. There's our camp. It's probably 3-4 miles away, maybe 10 by road, and didn't take us long to finish up for the day. It was a great day of exploring the desert and quite a few abandoned mines, and that was the first mine that I was ever able to ride my motorcycle in. I'll never forget that mine, and I can't wait to get back to that part of the desert. That's just fantastic. Always seems so satisfying to return after a long day of riding, to be able to sit and chill, in this case by a campfire in the middle of a beautiful desert with friends, and sit and drink a beer and smoke one of Adrian's cigars, and it was just a great evening. As the sun went down, it got very, very cool. But we had a fire to keep some of the chill off the night. But again, early in the morning, we were back at it again. But this was going to be a much longer adventure. We actually carried extra fuel tanks with us to extend our range across the desert. This was going to be quite a journey, as we were to go quite a good bit across the desert to find the town of Swansea. It's a ghost town. It's a mining town, a ghost town. Pretty big operation compared to these smaller operations that we're riding through here. You can see on both sides of the road the little small yellowish plants that are popping out of the desert. That's more cholla. Cholla is quite an interesting plant, and never tied up with it, but it's one of those things where you just don't want to experience it close up. You kind of want to experience it from a foot or two. But the cholla out here were everywhere, and of course the saguaros were abundant also. You know which desert you're in by the plant life, and in this case we're in the Sonoran Desert, and one of the few places that has, in fact the only place that has the giant saguaro. If you're in the Mojave, then you know that you're going to see Joshua trees, and as far as I know, it's the only place you will see Joshua trees is in the Mojave. But a good expanse of desert. The Sonora goes into Mexico from Arizona, so there's a small patch of desert in northern Mexico, and then southern Arizona. But it's just a blast riding around this unique environment and spending time with my new friend.
You lost the trail?
not only was Adrian a fantastic desert guide and a wonderful host, he was very knowledgeable about the history of mining in the region and how they mine stuff, and he was just a wealth of information. In addition to all that, very knowledgeable about the plant life, and there's a vertical mine shaft right there. It's kind of crazy. This stuff's all over the place out here. But just to be able to immerse yourself into the knowledge that he can share was a great experience. And riding with him was obviously a great experience. He should probably start a tour business and take people on desert tours, because it was quite extraordinary, the experience I had hanging out with him, riding with him, and letting him share his knowledge of the history of the desert and the history of mining and his knowledge of the plant life.
So that's a giant saguaro. They only grow in Arizona. It's the only saguaro between here and Mexico that grows arms on it. You can see the arm on the other side. They grow about a foot every 50 years, I'm told, and it takes them about 75 years to grow their first arm. The reason why they grow arms, or what they feel the reason is why they grow arms, is to level the cactus. The taller ones, the taller arms are arms, and then down below they're called boots. They have the big holes that you see in this are cactus wrens, and they peck for nests in there. They eat the saguaro and grow nests in there. And the smaller holes, the saguaro is able to grow a skin inside to protect itself. The inside of the saguaro is a dowel-like skeleton structure. So picture a circle of dowels that go all the way to the top of the cactus.
And that's for support.
Yep.
And then what do we have here?
That's a ocotillo, or bullwhip, and these stringy arms will grow every time it rains. They grow dark, tiny little dark leaves, the whole shaft, and at the very top, they grow a orange plume about that long. It lasts for about 2 weeks and it all goes away, and they go back to being dormant again.
All right, so what is this?
That's I don't know the proper term for it, but it's just what I call a regular cholla.
Just your standard cholla.
Yep.
And this is not the stuff that sloughs off and gets in your tires.
Nope. That is right up there.
All right.
These things here are dry, so they're not, they're actually growing. If you get a close-up shot right here, this is what sloughs off. See how these are wobbly?
Yeah.
These grow out here, and you'll get these pods with the thorns on them. Okay. They drop off into the trail, and you'll see them hanging off of cattle, hanging off of dirt bikers, and they're pretty painful.
They look painful. So armed with my new knowledge of the dangers of the desert, we were ready to face some more mines. Now it looks...
You can see someone put a hoe up there from a backhoe.
Uh-huh. Looks like they started and stopped right here.
Yep.
Same thing right here. I mean, that's all limestone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I can see some stuff in here. It looks like copper even. I could see why somebody would go, oh yeah, let's start digging there. But here, I don't get that. I don't get that either. Unless they were trying to find the buried rock that they were looking for. I don't know anything about mining. What should I... Not all the mines in the area were abandoned, or at least completely abandoned. We ran into this steel door that had this nice note on it. I think he was threatening to kill the next person. Anyway, we split from there. and obviously we were able to find the ghost town of Swansea, and we were not the only ones. This place was covered up. I had no idea there were this many what I would call tourists in the desert. And shockingly, as far out in the desert as this thing was, I was very impressed. Obviously, this is a pretty interesting installation. It's a pretty massive mine compared to everything else that we visited for these 2 days. There was a lot of structures left, and they were actually rebuilding a few of the structures. And we're about to pass the workers' cottages. I think that's what they called them. But they're up here on the left. I guess they replastered the walls and put some roofs on them to keep them from deteriorating. I imagine the sun in the desert really takes a toll on structures in general. And there's the cottages over to the left. There's some ruins just forward of them, just by the road, and then over by the left you'll see the workers' cottages. Interesting place. I really love ghost towns in general, but I'm even more inspired with the fact that this was a ghost town built around a mine, and I guess the mine ran dry or prices fell and they just couldn't get the money, couldn't justify the expenditure for what they were pulling out of the mine. But we spent maybe an hour or so just walking around. It's a pretty big place, and we're about to run into the rest of the tourists, which I don't mind. It's a huge place, so I didn't really get in the way of anybody, and nobody got in my way, and we all got to explore a very interesting ghost town that I think is maintained by the BLM, I guess. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. But it was well done for such an out-of-the-way exhibit. It was very interesting. And we spent a good amount of time just kind of wandering around and taking in the sights of the ruins and what was left, and trying to imagine what life was like back in the day as a miner. Kind of hard to imagine life out here, obviously without air conditioning or anything. I guess probably the safest place was going to work every day in the mine where it was cooler. But it was a really neat experience. Good to explore one of the largest ghost towns I've ever been in. So join us next time as I make an ass out of myself on the Colorado River.